Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Kingswell Conversations, conversations with heart that are shaping, foster and adoption in Virginia and beyond. And I'm absolutely thrilled again to be joined by the fabulous Richard Kingswell, CEO of FosterVA and Extra Special Parents. Richard, thank you so much for joining me again on another episode of the Kingswell Conversations.
Absolute pleasure, Nikki. Thank you.
So today, are you ready to impart some more of your pearls of wisdom in the world of therapeutic foster care, which is your guys' one of your specialist areas?
If the question's not too hard, I'll try my best.
Do your best, because we know that you're a pro at this, so I know you're going to be absolutely fine. So what I want to ask today, so again, I'm going to read it off here because I want to make sure I get the wording right when I write all my questions out for you. What does progress actually look like for a child in therapeutic foster care? So in your opinion, we're not looking at things like sort of eliminating negative patterns. We're looking at more positive outcomes. What does the success look like? Can I hand it over to you so you can share with us your thoughts on this?
Okay. I think we'll put it into three buckets, if that works for you, Nikki. I think the first bucket we're going to talk about is stability. So let's do that one first. And what does stability for success as a parent who's fostering a child looks like? So stability is the house expectations, the house norms, your norms are starting to be followed without challenge, and the acceptance that everything's going to be okay, that meal times at this time, school times at this time, homeworks at this time, all the work that you've done prior to try and help with the child to say, my home is safe, I am safe, start to become normal. And the stability within the house, the deregulation of emotions starts disappearing, and you start going into a normal routine that any other child who hasn't been in foster care, hasn't been removed, hasn't been through the trauma, is starting to really become success in your home to your expectations, whatever that is. And again, it's your home. We're not going to try and put you in a box of this amazing parent, whatever it is in your home. But when the child trusts, you'll see stability. So all the challenges you had in the first few weeks, where you were laying down the expectations of the house that, look, we've got to have a vegetable on the plate. It's just one of those things that we're really going to try and work on. But I don't like vegetables. And then all of a sudden a pea is eaten, sort of thing, without any drama. Or it just disappears and they go, I like peas. And everything's good again, sort of thing. So all those sort of normalities that you've tried to put in, you've worked hard to stop becoming a challenge. And that is a great place to start for stability in your home.
And for the child, as well, stability for them, if they've had such an unstable period of time, whether it's the whole of their life or, for the previous year, etc. For them, how are they going to be feeling inside themselves when they're feeling more stable?
Much happier. Much happier. That's the secret sort of thing, is if they know you're reliable, they're going to be happier in that environment. And the pushbacks and the emotional upsets, the angers and the other behaviors that don't meet your expectations disappear, is because they don't need to show them to you to make sure that you're safe. You've moved into the second area, which is they've started to trust you. And that's the second pillar, I would say, that we're looking at, is the trust. And that is an awesome place. That is one of the favorite places for parents to get into, when a child trusts you. The simple things to look at with trust is what makes you safe to them and how do they demonstrate safety. So if there's been no physical contact with this child, like they don't want to hold hands if they're younger, if they don't want to sit on the couch, they sit on the floor. If they don't want to be anywhere in your domain to watch a movie, they're in their own space. They may have a cuddly toy that they never let out of their hand, and all of a sudden the bunny disappears and they're sitting on the couch with you. It's all showing signs of security, that you're okay. This is going to be okay. And the child
that's an amazing feeling as a foster parent when you suddenly notice something that, you know, to the outside world would seem very small and insignificant, but for you as a foster parent, you know that is the biggest breakthrough ever.
Yes, yes. When that bunny, that blanket, that toy is put down, and they just sit on the couch and watch their TV program with you, is a huge, huge jump in trust. And so looking for those little hidden gems, I suppose we could call them, the hidden gems of foster parent, when a child, they may say mum, dad, uncle, they give you a title of love and trust, because age is different. Some kids will never use titles like mum, dad, things like that in foster care, because it's disloyal to the parents. And we can do a whole video on that one at another time, sort of thing.
We've got a whole blog on that, I think we can also say as well. There is a blog and a video about that as well.
So, except where the child is in this trust building. But it's one of the great things for my social workers, my clinical specialists, when they go out to the houses, and my home study people, when the people come into your home and they see a child who's been there for a month, 6 weeks, and they can see the difference where you may not see the micro change. But when you come in every other week or every week, depending on what the needs of the child are, you go, wow, they've really come a long way as a team. Yeah. And it's a family, and you can see it. And it's a real little rub on our shoulders sort of thing, that the trust is being built with the skills that we've shown the parents and the hard work that the parents have put in. And so
I mean, that's got to be something that as an organization that works in this thing, to see those outcomes, you know what you're trying to achieve on the journey for that child, but to actually see the outcomes there and in front of you of this is working, and this child is feeling safe, they are feeling loved, they are starting to trust. That has got to be, I know we're talking about parents and children, but as the advocates that you are in this journey as well, that's got to be an amazing driver of why you do what you do.
It is the driver. It is the driver. It is that we take a traumatized child, put them in a house, a family that we believe could be trusted to look after this child, and then it happens. And it's like, okay, the system works. Everything's coming together. We'll have our bad days, but when you see a good day like that, when you see a quiet house, and you see a house that's people watching TV and having popcorn, and just the normality of a family. And 4 weeks earlier, the kid couldn't stop crying all day, all night, because they were missing their mum, their dad. They don't understand. They're too young. They're angry at the system because they've been bounced around so many places that they haven't found a trusted foster parent to support them, and they've blown out of houses because of that. And then all of a sudden you just see this trust, and it's like, we made a good match. And that's what being a child placing agency is about, is making the match. And making that match is so important for stability for the child, the family, and trying to match those personalities, those outward bounds, those introverts, your personality with the child, and making the match. And that's my team does such a good job of making the match, and that's very important.
Brilliant. So we've touched on stability, we've touched on trust. What's your third pillar in this?
I think the third pillar would be emotion stability, and we touched on it a bit with the very first one, that the emotions start calming down. The drama on a bad day, where it was a 10, it's now a 5. That's progress. We don't have to get down to a 0. Every child doesn't get down to a 0. However healthy your family has been, your first children, your biological children that you've graduated out of the house, and you said, oh, I've made the perfect parent, and no one says that. It's like, we're not looking for a 0 on emotional upset sort of thing. So from a 7 to a 5, a 5 to a 3, this is awesome. And so progress. And this child wasn't hurt and scared and damaged and been through abuse, trauma, neglect, without having ways to express themselves. And if that's emotionally regulated, got my word wrong, they're upset. It's so important that when you start seeing these hurdles of stability, so when they do get upset with you, it's a 3 and not a 7. And that's the best way that you can see progress. You won't get down to a 0. No parent in the history of the planet can get a child who's upset with you down to a 0. Even if they're 27 years old, they're not going to do that. So if they get upset, they're going to express themselves. But they may be able to express themselves in more appropriate family norms ways. We can take a time out. We can talk through it afterwards. We can work out a plan for progress. So we can set new guidelines. Like, I didn't know I didn't have to say you can't throw shoes at me. I didn't know that was one of those things that a child does. And it's like, okay, we have a new expectation in the house. No throwing shoes. And we can discuss that outside of the crisis, not in the crisis. No one's listening in a crisis. You're not listening great. They're not listening great. So you have to just step back and wait. And you can discuss, we have a new expectation in the house. We're not throwing shoes.
Electively.
We're not throwing shoes.
We are not throwing shoes. Now, I want to, I'm just going to left field you here with a question, because, you know, okay. I do like to do that. I know that over the course, you know, for people that have followed this journey, we know that you have been in this arena all of your working life. This is your place, and this is your zone of genius, and this is what fills your cup and is like your soul calling, is helping
we'll pull kids down from genius, just maybe above average. I try my
best. You can have a zone of genius. This is your zone of genius, and without a doubt. Now, I know that over the course of that, and we know people that have followed you, that there has been, you know, so many children and young people that have passed through your world on this journey. Is there a particular child that, on your journey within therapeutic foster care, is there a particular child that stands out, like a journey or a story that you really remember, that you think, I remember the success of that particular journey with a particular foster family or a particular child? Do you have any particular standout ones?
I think the ones that stand out to me, and I can't put an individual out there, because I think that's too challenging over 35 years of journey sort of thing to say, oh, this one I was amazing with sort of thing. I think that's much harder to say sort of thing, or what amazing difference our team did. Yeah. I think a child that I've recognized is a child that has come in so angry and so destructive that they're hurting themselves. Okay. The girls are the ones that really are very, very hard on themselves. So a girl that uses cutting behavior, self-abusive behavior, to demonstrate and control their emotional feelings through cutting, picking, biting, just inflicting pain on themselves. And when I see one of my girls change from someone that's that destructive, because that's a very long-term learned behavior. It's not something that just turns up. It's something that has been there for years and years as a tool that is very effective. And that's one of the things. It may not be socially acceptable, but to the child, it's a very good strategy to manage emotional, overwhelming feelings. And so working with them on other strategies, other trust, you don't have to get to that 10 where you have to manage the pain by hurting yourself. When I've worked with girls that have done that, I think they're the biggest achievements, when they have stopped cutting, stopped hurting, and stopped damaging and scarring their body for the rest of life, because those scars do last. They do not go away. And when you're in your 30s and you're explaining why you have these cuts on your belly, on your thighs and things like that, it is challenging for them. But it's part of their journey, it's part of their path. But if we can stop that behavior by good interventions, good trust, good stability, they're the kids that every kid has scars when they leave and enter foster care, because that's how they got there.
Some have more than others, though, yeah.
And some have more than others because their abuse or their way they've managed it has been more self-destructive sort of thing. It's not suicidal behaviors and attempted suicides and things like that, but the discrete inflicting pain on them. Working with those girls, because it's mainly a girl's behavior, has always been an achievement, because when you see a girl that really does inflict pain on themselves to manage that, it hurts. And so when you see a girl remove that from their toolbox, that's an amazing day.
That's got to be amazing. That's got to be amazing. Well, what a perfect way to end. That is a really amazing insight. And thank you so much for sharing that. And just it just makes you, doesn't it? You just listen to you talk with such passion about the work that you do. And I defy anybody to listen to these conversations that we're having and not feel touched, or, not feel, is there something that I can do? Not necessarily, maybe I'm watching this and thinking I could be a foster parent, or maybe I'm thinking maybe I could just help a family down the road that I know are foster parents. Maybe I could just reach out and say, how can I support you? Or maybe I could volunteer, or, lots of different ways that that people can get involved to help these young people. One of the things I did touch upon a little bit ago, just thinking about it, is that for anybody that is watching this right now that has different questions, and we talked about, touched on the fact of what foster children may call you, and I mentioned about the blog. If reading blogs or just taking the time to gather information is the kind of the way that you digest information, on the website, one of Richard's websites, www.fosterva.org, there is a whole plethora library of blogs and videos on just about every topic you can imagine to do with foster and adoption. And there's a very simple search box you can go in. You can also download Richard's 45-page free guide. It's a comprehensive guide to foster and adoption in Virginia, but a lot of the stuff is universal across the US, just with some specific Virginia-specific information. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about Extra Special Parents, which is the agency that Richard mentioned, which does amazing stuff in Virginia, you can go to the website www.espva.org and have a good look around there and schedule a chat with someone if this has just brought some questions up for you. Richard, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing more of your knowledge of all of those years. Really, really appreciate it.
Very happy to do so. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
And you too. And to those of you watching wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for taking the time to come out and hang out with us. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care now. Bye-bye.